God is trying to emphasize love is important, and it is the foundation for everything that He does. And it's the foundation for everything we ought to do in response to Him. It's because we love. And so I look at this passage and ask, well, how can we love? Well, let's break these down. I'm going to break these down, and I'm going to talk about them for a little bit. Because I believe if we will truly read this passage and say, I need to work on this, I need to improve on this, and if I will do these things, I will finally grow in love with people. Sometimes we think if we just wake up in the morning, we'll automatically fall in love with each other. Or sometimes we think, you know what, maybe it'll just happen. But does love take work? Yes, it does. Anyone been married? Does marriage take work? But I thought you guys always loved each other. You do. I see all the married people smiling, all the single people are like, oh, yeah. I love my poodle. But let's break this down real quick. Because I honestly believe if we will practice these things, we're going to grow in love with one another. And it's going to make all the difference. First one says, love is patient or long-suffering. Have you ever stood in the line at Walmart? How patient are people?
Not very.
Or have you ever done anything wrong against someone? Are they quick to rebuke you or seek vengeance or call you a name? Yeah. You see, one of the things that we understand is we live in a very unloving world in which people are not patient with one another. When people are patient with one another, it shocks people. But the thing is, most people are not patient with one another. We're not patient with people's failings. We're not patient with their sins against us. We're not patient with their choices. We're not patient with all these different things. And because of that, we just quickly write people off. Have you noticed how important patience is? Because patience requires a level of understanding. Patience says, I'm willing to be wronged for a while in order to help you. Patience is saying, you know what, I'm holding out for hope that something will be better in your life. You see, that's a really hard concept to understand. And people don't experience patience. But when we're patient with one another, that's where we start understanding, you know what, people are loving me and caring for me. When you think about the most people who are loving of you, aren't they also the ones who are most patient? I think about that. You know what, patience is not an easy thing. And in fact, it's actually not one of the most natural things. Patience is probably one of the things that is most unnatural to people, especially to men. There was an Englishman, a nobleman, who said, patience is one of the hardest things for men to do, but at the same time, that's why it's so powerful. And I thought about it. I've always wanted people to be patient with me, in my weakness, and my struggles, and my choices. How much more so should I be patient with other people? And maybe hope that things will be better because I was willing to understand. Patience comes when you're understanding. Understanding comes when you're wise. Wisdom comes when you fear God. And so when I fear God, I tend to value people. And that helps me to understand them, their stories, their backgrounds, and helps me to be compassionate. The second thing that it says that love is kind. We like being around kind people, right? Who likes being around an antagonist? Anyone want to be around an antagonist? We don't like being around critical, harsh people. But I found it interesting here that it said that love is kind. Now, why is that so important in love? Why is kindness so important? Well, one of the things that I understand is kindness and criticism is actually how we show people how we value or devalue them. Anyone ever have a job where your boss completely disrespected you? Didn't care about you? How did that make you feel valued? How valued did you feel? You'd be like, I don't need you, I'll go to another job. Because the value of kindness kind of shows you value. But when you're kind to someone, it says, you know what, I'm investing in you. I'm listening to you. I look you in the eye. I care about you. I'm smiling. I'm caring about you. And because I value you, I'm going to treat you right. When people are kind to us, that's when we feel valued. That's why they say encouragement and appreciation are so valuable. Because kindness is how we show people we value them. Criticism is how we show them we devalue them. Judgment is how we show that we devalue them. Harshness and unwillingness to understand is how we devalue people. But when we are kind to people, we show people, I value you. That's why it's so important. Next thing that we see is love does not envy. It's really hard to love someone who you're jealous of and envious of. And sometimes this is where pride can arise up and say, you know what, I wish I had what they had. And in fact, they already have enough. They have what they deserve. What they have, I should have, because I'm technically better than them. A lot of it comes from this result of pride and this lust for greed, saying, I'm entitled to that. Who says you're entitled to any of it? It all belongs to God. But a lot of it is you will not love people who you're jealous with or envious of. Why not be what the Bible tells us to do? We take joy when our brothers and sisters are joyous. We celebrate when they celebrate. When someone gets a job promotion, don't get jealous. Celebrate. When someone does something well, don't get angry and jealous. Celebrate it. We want to glory in the fact that God showed providence to people we loved. And we should take joy in that. Next thing that we see is love does not boast and is not proud. Who likes being around a braggart? Are those your best friends? Do you like people who make you feel like nothing because they have to exalt themselves? One of the ways that you can really show people you love them is to stop talking about yourself. Date lesson number 1, don't talk about yourself. Talk about the other person. But that's completely true. Talk about the other person. Exalt them. When someone does something good, brag about them in front of other people. Paul did a lot of amazing things, but he boasted about what Christ did. He boasted about what Timothy did. He boasted about what Titus did. Despite him being the greatest of the apostles in his sense, saying, look at all the works I did. But I lower myself and make myself the least. Despite what he had done, he lowered himself. He wasn't proud and arrogant. Jesus did the same thing. He had every reason to say, I'm the Son of God, you guys bow down and worship me. But in humility, he chose not to do that. He chose to come at it from a humble perspective. That showed that love. And this is why encouragement and honoring one another is so powerful. The next thing that we see is love is not rude. Love can't be created when actions and words are constantly causing bitterness. You constantly hurt someone over and over and over again, eventually it's going to do a lot of damage. And it's going to affect the relationship. Rudeness hurts. Whoever came up with the phrase that sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me, obviously wasn't a human being. Because I can tell you, just living in this world, the years I have, and the people I've talked to, people would rather suffer physical pain than emotional pain. That's pretty much across the board that I've met. What you say hurts. What you do can hurt. So we need to watch ourselves, make sure that we're not being rude. And one of the things and even if you have the truth, it doesn't give you a right and a license to go about it rudely. What if just because something is truthful doesn't mean it has to be said harshly? And there's a different way of saying it. Just like if you, never mind, bad joke. But we'll move on. Let's go on, and it says, love is not easily angered or offended. This is one of the ones that you look at the country. Is our country divided? In every level. It doesn't matter. I'm not just talking about politics. I'm just talking about everything. I think a part of it, a major reason, is because everyone's easily offended. And easily offended to me kind of also resides from pride. It says, no one treats me like that. I deserve to be treated better. And it comes from this kind of pride issue. But it comes from being easy, and this idea of being easily offended and easily angered. Are you one who's willing to be patient and kind and understanding? Or are you the one who just starts getting angry immediately? The Bible tells us that we need to control our anger. And in fact, the Bible says